gigantic victory for Republicans with the unanimous vote on the Republican side for Mike Johnson from Shreveport, Louisiana. He's a little-known congressman from Louisiana. He is, well, the Democrats' worst nightmare. Pretty extraordinary when it comes to his conservative bona fides. Don't believe me? I hope you had a chance to see or hear his speech yesterday when he was welcomed as the Speaker of the House. If not, let me give you this amazing example of the Democrats' worst night. And they helped create this now. Remember, they could have saved Kevin McCarthy. And the Democrats said, oh, we've got no reason to save Kevin McCarthy. Well, now they've got a conservative extraordinaire. This guy, Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson.
America is the only nation in the world that is founded upon a creed. And he said it's listed with almost theological lucidity in the Declaration of Independence. What is our creed? We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, not born equal, created equal. And they are endowed by the same inalienable rights, with the same inalienable rights: life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. That is the creed that has animated our nation since its founding, that has made us the great nation that we are. And we're in a time of extraordinary crisis right now. And the world needs us to be strong. They need us to remember our creed and our admonition. Turmoil and violence have rocked the Middle East and Eastern Europe. We all know it. And tensions continue to build in the Indo-Pacific. The country demands strong leadership of this body, and we must not waver. Our nation's greatest ally in the Middle East is under attack. The first bill that I'm going to bring to this floor in just a little while will be in support of our dear friend Israel, and we're overdue in getting that done.
How great is that guy so far? Now again, bottom line here is there was turmoil. The Republicans were unified. A speech is one thing, but everything that I'm learning about Mike Johnson, and we're all getting a quick primer on Mike Johnson. Is it primer or primer? I think it's a primer. The Cliff Notes, the cheat sheet, the white sheet. Everything we're learning about this guy is a grand slam home run. And the Democrats are squealing. They can't believe it. They're flipping out. Well, all they had to do was support Kevin McCarthy, and they'd have had Kevin McCarthy. It's delicious. Let it sink in that the Democrats. Here's one that'll make you happy. Let me play an MSNBC. Here's their big thing right now. I watched ABC World News tonight with David Muir. David Muir saw fit. Rachel Scott was like chasing Mike, the speaker, around, asking him about being an election denier. That's all they've got. And she was like a stalker. She reminded me of Glenn Close in Fatal Attraction. She's running up and down the halls with her big microphone saying to him, "What do you think that Trump lost? Are you an election denier?" And they're all laughing at her and even booing her. And it led to David Muir saying to her on set, "We support you, Rachel, and we know you're going to keep asking the tough question." Oh, yeah, that's a real tough question. Just like all the Democrats doubted that Trump won legitimately in 2016, a whole bunch of Republicans doubted that Biden won in 2020. Get over yourself. We get to do that. And Democrats got to do it too. They still do it. I think Hakeem Jeffries is still convinced that Hillary's the president. It's hysterical. These are clowns. So speaking of clowns, check out this MSNBC segment yesterday where an MSNBC type hyperventilating about Speaker Johnson questioning the outcome of the 2020 election. This is sure to put a big fat smile on your face.
Takes me back to yesterday when you and I were having this conversation, albeit at that point it was chaos because we didn't know who the speaker was going to be. At least now there is a speaker for the first time in over 3 weeks. But the conversation that you and I were having was that it's part and parcel to the Republican conference platform in the House right now to have anti-small d Democratic values. And so it shouldn't be striking that the person that they put up for this job maybe wasn't cited all over the January 6th report, though there is at least one mention of him in there. But instead, he's someone who simply provided some of the attempted rationale for how to overturn an election. And I'm glad, frankly, that you played the clip from last night when they invited reporters in for a quote-unquote press conference and then said no policy questions. But I tried similarly today when he walked down the very steps that I'm standing on right now and spoke with reporters for, once again, what they called a press conference and didn't take questions. I shouted quite loudly about whether or not he thought the 2020 election results were legitimizing for Biden and if he believed that Biden was the legitimately elected president of the United States. And he once again ignored those questions. And so I know that some people might say it's in the past, but certainly January 6th and 2020 looms so large over this building every single day. And now you have someone in the presidential line of succession who helped with that rationale in a key way that Republican members of Congress were using his legal bases that were, of course, flimsy and non-constitutional, but were trying to use them as their rationale for why they voted against certifying the election results. I think that that's extremely striking and speaks to where the party is right now.
I mean, that is comedy gold. Did you yell loudly at him, lady? Did you do that? I am so sorry this is happening to you, lady. Oh, you poor, quick, somebody get her a brown paper bag. Somebody get her some smelling salts. At least a damp washcloth to put on her poor forehead. I shouted very loudly at him, and this is looming large. Yeah, that's right, because that's all anybody's worried about every day is January 6th. Maybe you, in your head, in your pea brain as an MSNBC reporter. I mean, that is so rich. And this is good stuff. Hey, kudos to Matt Gaetz. He pulled it off. I saw a headline, and incidentally, a whole lot of people owe Matt Gaetz an apology. Not this guy, not me. I said it all along. Removing Kevin McCarthy wasn't my favorite thing in the world, but people ought to pay attention to what Matt Gaetz and the others were trying to do. And people ought to pay attention to all the Americans who supported Matt Gaetz. And now, who comes out of this smelling like a rose? The Florida congressman, Matt Gaetz. He did it. He got a rock-solid Republican Speaker of the House that the Democrats are going to loathe. New York Times, a man and a plan. I'm reading this from the New York Times. Matt Gaetz's gamble appears to have paid off. Gaetz, a far-right House Republican who viewed Speaker Kevin McCarthy as too willing to compromise with Democrats, started a process 3 weeks ago to unseat him. Not only did that effort work, but House Republicans emerged from their recent chaos to elect Mike Johnson as the new Speaker. And Johnson is much closer to the House's hard right faction than McCarthy was. Wow.